So if you guys didn't hear, Michael Van Page is gearing up to take on Sharaputdin Magomedov on February 1st, 2025 at UFC Fight Night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And this is a fun fight, man. I mean, you have Page with his flashy striking and show-stopping style. He has quickly made waves in the UFC after a strong debut win over Kevin Holland. Now, don't get me wrong, he hit a rough patch recently against Ian Gary, but he's still a standout in the welterweight division. On the other side, Magomedov from Dagestan has been rising fast in the middleweight rankings. He's undefeated and really turned his head with his last fight when he had a double spinning back fist win over Armen Petrosyan. Now, ever since this fight was announced, I've noticed that a lot of people have been saying things like Sharaputdin is done or MVP is the best striker in the UFC. Now, that's up for debate, but you could definitely say that MVP is an elite striker by any standard. At the same time though, we cannot ignore that Sharaputdin is incredibly skilled as well. I think a lot of people are underestimating him. The fight is way closer than people might think. It's definitely not going to be one-sided. And honestly, this fight feels like a safe stylistic matchup for both MVP and Shara. They're both high-level strikers, and neither of them is particularly strong in the grappling. So we're more likely to see a striking battle which plays into both of their strengths. It's especially interesting with Shara because he comes out of Dagestan, where fighters are usually known for their grappling skills. But we've seen both MVP and Shara get out-grappled in the past, so it's safe to say they're both more comfortable on their feet, obviously. It's kind of funny actually that Shara doesn't have the grappling edge we usually see from Dagestani fighters, which probably makes this matchup more exciting for the fans. Instead of worrying about a takedown or ground control, these two can focus on what they do best, striking. It's a style clash, but it's safe grounded for both of them because they can reach each other and avoid their weaker areas. This is why it feels like a closer fight than people realize. Both guys are stepping into a matchup that let them play to their own strengths. Alright, let's break this matchup down between MVP and Sharaputdin. Now, from both sides, there's ton to unpack here because both fighters bring such distinct styles and strengths to the table. We'll go back and forth looking at each fighter's potential path to victory. So first, let's start with MVP striking. He's known for that unique, unpredictable style that's nearly impossible to prepare for. Page uses wide karate-like stance, consistently bouncing and switching directions. This movement, combined with his use of feints, keeps his opponents guessing. Magomedov, in contrast, brings a more straightforward, Muay Thai-based style. He's got power and solid foundation. But if he can't find the rhythm against MVP's unusual approach, he might struggle to land those big shots that he's known for. Now, on the flip side, Magomedov power is no joke. He's a natural middleweight with knockout ability, and he knows how to apply relentless pressure. If he can get MVP against the cage or something, or cut off his movement, he can land something heavy that changes the course of the fight. MVP is moving up in weight here, so he may not be fully prepared for that kind of power a natural middleweight like Magomedov brings. However, I will add that MVP's speed and precision are major advantages here. He's incredibly fast and he doesn't waste strikes. Page is a sniper. He waits for the right opening and then lands with his pinpoint accuracy. Against a pressure fighter like Magomedov, who may overextend at times, this precision could be a game changer. But the catch is that Magomedov's aggressive style could force MVP to fight at a pace that he's uncomfortable with, especially if he can't find the space to use his footwork and evade those close range exchanges. And speaking of experience, MVP has been in a big fight before. He's faced high level strikers in Bellator and the UFC, and he knows how to handle the pressure of the big stage. Magomedov, while talented and undefeated, is still relatively new to the UFC. MVP's experience could give him the edge, especially if he could stay composed and make smart decisions in the cage. But let's not underestimate Magomedov because he's been in tough environments and he's in the rise and has been nothing short of impressive. If he can bring the same confidence and composure, he might handle the spotlight just fine if you ask me. Now, something that's going to help MVP is his counter-striking ability, because it's another factor that could tilt the fight in his favor. He doesn't throw punches just to throw them. He waits for his opponents to make mistakes and then capitalize. Magomedov loves to come forward and apply pressure, but that aggressive approach can sometimes leave him open. If MVP can bait him into overcommitting, he might find the perfect counter that can finish the lead to a knockout or even a finish. However, Magomedov has that chin and durability to take a shot and keep coming, so MVP will have to be precise and consistent if he wants to keep him at bay. Now, on the defensive side, MVP's evade style could help him avoid Magomedov's power shots, unlike fighters who rely on taking punches to land their own. MVP is more of a hit and don't get hit fighter. He's great at slipping punches and moving out of range. This could be crucial against someone like Magomedov, who has the power to change the fight with a single shot. But if Magomedov can trap MVP against the cage or force him to stand and trade, that's a defensive advantage that might not hold up. Now, if this fight goes the distance, MVP style might give him the edge with the judges. He's used to landing clean shots, effective striking without necessarily going for the finish. Judges often favor fighters who show precise and control over those who are simply aggressive. Now, if Magomedov can land something big, MVP style can sway the decision in his favor. However, if Magomedov can keep the pressure, land significant strikes, and make it a gritty fight, the judges might lean towards his aggressive approach. Another thing I want to mention is MVP moving up in weight. It's a bold move that shows his competitive nature, but it comes with the risk. Magomedov will have the size advantage and is used to middleweight power, which could make it tough for MVP if Magomedov imposes his physicality. That said, if MVP's skills and technique can offset the size difference, it would be a huge statement for him. The fight really comes down to their contrast styles. MVP striking and speed and counter striking gives him plenty of ways to win, in my opinion, especially if he keeps the fight at distance. Now, on the flip side, Magomedov's power and aggressive pressure could create problems if he turns it into a close range battle. Honestly, it's a fight that can go either way, which is exactly what makes it so exciting to watch. Now, if you're asking me who I think is going to win, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm leaning towards MVP by decision. Here's why. As the lighter man, he's likely to have the speed advantage and he's an exceptional counter striker. Fighters moving up in weight often find success due to their speed and technique abilities. And that's a big reason why I feel confident in MVP here. His ability to control range and dictate the fight with his striking could give him the edge. That said, even if MVP outclasses Shara from a distance, I still think that the fight will still stay competitive. Shara is the type of fighter who keeps pressuring forward no matter how tough things get. While he might not have the grappling pedigree we often associate with fighters from Dagestan, he does have the grit, determination, and enough striking power to make things interesting. I can see him eventually landing something significant if he's able to close the gap and make it a scrappy fight. And look, man, we cannot ignore that MVP has shown that he's a bit chinny at times. Just look back at his fight with Douglas Lima, where he got knocked out by a perfect time shot after getting caught off balance. Even in his bare knuckle match with Mike Perry, he took a lot of damage, which showed that he can be tagged when he's pressured. This is exactly where Shara can shine. He's got some serious power and isn't afraid to come forward, and that's why I said if he can get inside and land clean, there's a real chance that he can win that way. MVP's speed and counter striking are great, but he has to stay defensively sharp to avoid those big shots from Shara. One slip up can change everything. But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.